I've got a couple like random planty updates, both for houseplants and for outside plants, especially in the GreenStalk since we set that up in the last video. But I'm thinking this will just kind of be like random little updates of stuff I've been doing with the plants and stuff that's been going on. There hasn't been anything like super crazy, but there's been some exciting stuff. So I'll start with the indoor plants and we will work our way outside. Sorry, this is all a mess still, just from setting up the GreenStalk, and I was moving some furniture around, like, back over behind me that way, so it's whatever. Roll with it. So it's just gonna be strung together and, like, a bunch of random clips throughout the day of me remembering things I wanted to show you. We'll start in the kitchen, and then we'll get into all the planty things. But for starters, I am kind of trying to get back into making bread. This is just like a sandwich loaf. I feel like, it's good. My husband likes it, my brother likes it, I like it, it's good for toast and whatever. I don't know if you're someone who's like, the crumb, but that's what she looks like. For me, it's a little dense, if you know what causes that, and just like a sandwich loaf of bread. I would love tips and pointers if you fancy yourself a baker, because I do not. I'm more of a cooker, not a baker. I don't like precision things in the kitchen typically. But yeah, so I was doing that, and then at the beginning of the year, like a couple months ago, I tried doing a sourdough starter, and it did really good for like a week. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was like, wow, it's doing awesome. And then it stopped rising after I fed it, and I was like, I suck. This sucks. And like I kept feeding it, I kept trying for like another week after that. And I was on like week 3 at that point, and it just stopped reacting to anything. So like I trashed it, swapped it, or scrapped it, and basically gave up. I've been like wanting to try again, but I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong the first time, so I don't want to just go in again not having learned anything and have it be like another waste. Because especially when it's starting and you're like, because like later on you can put it in the fridge and not have to feed it every day, but like when you're starting, like you go through a lot of flour, and like I know flour's cheap, but if it's just gonna fail again and I hadn't learned anything, why would I want to do that and just waste a bunch of stuff and time? But recently my town had its first farmer's market, and I met this lovely lady who is opening a refillery in June, and like a brick and mortar store, but she's been doing small pop-ups at markets. And I bought this like bread wrap from her. It's like a beeswax cloth, like the reusable wrappy things, but it's just like a really big size, so it's, you know, bread wrap. It's meant to just wrap up your loaf and keep it fresh, whatever. So we kind of got on the topic of like how I baked bread and how like I tried sourdough and I want to kind of try it again, and she was like, hey, I have a biochem degree and I make sourdough. And I was like, oh, if there's anyone to learn that from, it's gonna be you. And so I started telling her basically everything that went wrong the first time, and basically she was like, yeah, no, that first week is just like you had a false rise, and like it makes you feel on top of the world, and then when things stop happening you feel like you're doing something wrong, but you're not. Just keep feeding it and literally don't give up on it. She said she has like 1 million starters at her house, and like she was like, I have some in the freezer if you try again and it just isn't your thing to like start one. And she was like, there's no shame in like buying a starter. Plenty of people do it. And I was like, okay. But yeah, so basically I'm trying it again. I have this really cute little weck jar. I think it's in some of like my very first videos, because that was when I was trying this, when I started making videos in like January. But yeah, it's like the little made in France, and it's just got a bunch of cute food painted around it. I think it's like the cutest thing on the planet. I found it in an antique store probably almost 10 years ago, maybe like 7 years ago. And it's still got the seal, but like it's old and kind of dry rotting. Like I wouldn't actually use it to can. I also don't know how to can. I really want to learn. In my apartment, I don't even have space to store things that would be canned, so now is not the time to get into that, but that will be an adventure that we go on this channel in the future for sure. She also told me to start with a portion of my flour as rye flour, because apparently there's just a lot more like nutrient dense than bread flour or all-purpose or anything else really. So I was like, okay, pro tips from the biochem degree haver, like we'll take that. But I've been struggling with a name for her for a few days, and I've gone ahead and named her Genevieve, and I have her little birthday on there. I don't know, I really struggled with coming up with a name that like stuck and like felt like the right one. And I was like, well, the jar says she's made in France, and I'm pretty sure Genevieve is like a French name. And I looked it up, and it's like, there's like one of the patron saints of Paris is named Genevieve, and I was like, okay, sure. And I just think it's a really pretty name. But yeah, so this is a mix of unbleached all-purpose flour. That's just like store brand, and then some of the, is it Bob's Red Mill? Like the stone ground rye flour. And so I've got a mix of that in there, and then just tap water. I started it on the 25th. All I did on the 26th was I just like came in 24 hours later, stirred it really good, and put it back to rest. And then today, the 27th, I think I already stirred it today. Doesn't really matter yet. But I'm gonna do my first discard tomorrow morning. So it'll be like it'll be in its third day when I do a discard and a feed for the first time since starting it. It's been really warm lately, so I think that's also hopefully gonna help me. So there's that. Yeah, the rest of the video is just plants. It's kind of disorganized and all over the place, but have fun. It's just like random silly stuff that's been going on. So for starters, let's talk about the pothos situation. So this one is doing really good because it's in a terracotta pot, and then it's in a plastic saucer. And whenever this pothos dries out, basically, like it's really easy to notice when these leaves get a little droopy. And I just bottom water into the ceramic, or into the saucer, and I don't know why I'm showing you that. And then it like absorbs it through the pot, gets the water it needs, and like the next day it's perked up, looking good. The one over here, I believe I talked about before, was in like a planter box that I got it in a couple years ago with just a plastic liner in there and really no drainage available at all. And so I had this big pothos, and it was trailing this way, and it was trailing all across here, and like it looked really great. And then I must have just overwatered it. I didn't let it dry out enough in between waterings, and it all started to yellow and wilt and get really sad. So what I did is I took, so this is my fish tank. I have the lights off because I'm battling some like hair algae in there. The rocks that I put in here I think are just putting out too much like nutrients into the water because it's all just coming off the rocks. But I'm moving soon anyway, so I don't want to take the time to like rescape it or anything. So I don't know, just kind of taking care of it. It's full of shrimp and snails. There's a couple neons in here. The other ones aged out and just kind of passed away from natural causes. They were kind of like fully grown adults when I got them anyway. But there's a few more in here that are doing good. But anyway, about the pothos. So I'm a big fan of taking cuttings of anything as long as it's not toxic and just throwing in the fish tank. Stuff always roots. I know it's hard to tell. So these are all aquarium plants down here. This is Vallisneria. Grows super easy. It's great. I love it. But everything coming in from the top, all these thicker bits, are the pothos stems. So let's see if I can find one with some roots starting on it at all. There's a couple that are. Here we go. There's a good one. Okay. So here you can see the roots coming out of these 3 separate points, or 4 even, if you count that little one on the side, on the left there. But so there's roots coming out of all those points, and then this is what people call a growth point, I believe. But you can just tell this is where a new leaf and a new branch is going to come out of. So that's nifty. This is how I've always rooted most cuttings for most things, is just chuck them in. I've also got some kind of obtusifolia something, or maybe a peperomia, I don't know. But I believe this one is just starting to root right there. These ones are definitely having a little more trouble than the pothos, which makes sense. I mean, pothos is like super prolific. This one's got a little snail on it. And you can see how the stem is just brown. That just tells me it's rotting. It's not rooting, it's not living anymore. And it's kind of got like a slimy sheen to it, and the snails being on there tell me that they're eating decay. So I'll leave it in there as a snack for the snails. Like if it starts getting real bad, I'll take it out just for water quality, but it's not a problem. This one's still working on it. But a lot of the pothos is getting roots. I don't know if you can see that little white one right there. But yeah, it's basically just a big jungle in here right now. There's still plenty of room for the tiny fish, don't worry about it. And the snails. And then my shrimp are actually reproducing right now too. I've also got some Sourdough, and then I've got a couple different booses. There's this one here that's actually got a little baby runner. And there's that darker red one back there that is not looking too good. I've never grown boost before. This is my first time having it. I think that's the buried, where is she? Sorry, there's super bad reflections. That's my buried female, and so buried basically is just the shrimp term for pregnant. You can see she's darker in like her midsection there. Those are the eggs that she's holding in all of like her back legs. And I believe they kick their back legs and it kind of runs water like over and through and around the eggs. Sorry, these reflections are so bad. Okay. Anyways, you're not here for aquariums, but I tried with some of the other pothos cuttings to do them in perlite with water. Just because I see a lot of people online, like other houseplant channels and stuff, start cuttings in perlite or vermiculite with water. And I just always kind of wondered why, because I was like throwing it in here, or like these shorter ones I just threw in a shot glass. I've always just thrown them in water and I've never had an issue with that. So I was wondering if there was a reason to starting them in perlite with water. And they've definitely taken longer to start rooting than the aquarium bits. Like this one's kind of just getting his first one down here. I don't know, I'm not really seeing an upside to it. Like they're doing fine, I guess. I also don't like that I can't see everything that's going on in there the way that I can with the aquarium, so I think I'll stick with this in the future. I guess I just didn't know if this was gonna like help encourage roots to do anything differently. I didn't know, so I gave it a shot. It's not my favorite. I'm gonna keep just propagating in water from now on, at least for pothos. I mean, it could vary on different kinds of plants and different root preferences and stuff like that, but I would rather just have the jungle coming out of my tank. Next thing is very exciting. So there is a lady, I do rover if you're new here, but I just like do dogs and cats and check on them and walk them and all that jazz. That's kind of like my main gig, which gives me time to work on YouTube stuff, so that's fun. But this lady that I have been cat sitting for told me that she is moving to the other side of the state soon. And I kind of jokingly was like, well, if you have any plants that you don't want to move with you, like, I'll happily take a look at them and, like, take them off your hands for you. And then she messaged me a couple weeks later, like this week, I'm watching her cat for her again, and she was like, oh, I found some plants for you that I don't want to bring with me. And I was like, oh, perfect. So today she just gave me this one to take back, but she told me, I think she's moving in June? I could be wrong. But she told me that she'll have more plants for me when she actually leaves. But for now, she just had this nice big Christmas cactus. Not big, like, let me show you the one I already have. So this is my, like, family heirloom Christmas cactus. It's a lot more leggy than this one. Like, this one's very dense, but I also imagine that there's, like, a lot of plants crammed into here together. So that might be, and it looks like fairly new, just the way it's potted and everything. It looks like maybe she got it as a gift from, I don't know, from like a plant shop or something. Just guessing by the way it's all potted with this stuff and everything. But there's definitely multiple plants in here. me try to count and see how many there are. I'm guessing there's about 5 different Christmas cactus plants in here. And then given the season, so it's got these dried up blooms on it, but they're all dried. Even the ones that are still attached, they're dry. They fall off as soon as you poke them. It's not gonna bloom again until more winter months. But yeah, I was like, sure, I'll take that for you. And then it also, so it's in like this nursery pot, and it was in this little guy. So I was like, also just bonus pot, which is nice. So, you know, there's bonuses on top of getting paid if you're a good rover sitter. Okay. It's a little bit windy today, but nothing crazy. So as you can see, we've got the GreenStalk set up. That was in the last video, so I'll put a card to that up here. And then, like I said, it's been really windy, so I pulled all the plants off of the railing, other than the ceramic pot guy, just so they'd kind of have a little more shelter and you won't have to worry about them tipping over. But we've got our snap peas doing really well. I think I picked one from here just last night that was looking good. And there's a lot more. Oh goodness, a bumblebee. You're welcome, just don't sting me. But yeah, there's a couple more blossoms here. There's that one. This guy. Yeah, so it's chugging along. There's a few plants in here. And I definitely should have thought through how I planted them before making the trellis. And all that jazz, because now they're so wrapped around this that I don't want to move them. And so they're probably going to get stunted at some point. A bumble! So, please go pollinate my cucumber blossoms right there. That'd be very nice. Don't go in the AC. Sir, that's not where we need you. Okay, but anyway, I think these are the bell peppers. They are probably duds, in my opinion. I'm letting them grow and still watering them and stuff just to see what they do, but they're chilling. This is one of the cucumber plants, one of the 3 at this point. She's got a female blossom, and I recently learned how to tell is the females get fruit that come in behind the blossom right there. And so you can tell it's got the spikes on it, and it's not just pieces of stem, so that's very cool. And then this is a tomato that just didn't make it into the GreenStalk, so he's just chilling in here still. There's an iceberg, another cucumber. Let's see, some random flowers that didn't make it in. These are my strike beans. They dropped a couple beans the other day, like you can see here, that were growing. So I don't know if I just didn't water them maybe and they kind of shriveled up, but some of them also stayed on, so we'll just see. These are the carrots. If you're new here, I am growing these in just like a see-through peanut butter jar because I'm hoping if they get to the point of carroting that we can see the roots grow through here. I think that would be fun. So we're just keeping an eye on those. This is my little succulent guy. And then I've got a little nasturtium in this tiny pot here. And then the GreenStalk. So, most exciting thing probably is some of the tomato plants. I have 2 different varieties of tomato. There's Tessa's Landrace and Supernova. Right there. The Supernovas are just a lot more like upright, single stalky, and the Landraces are a lot bushier and smaller and just more compact looking, even though they're both container varieties. But some of them, let's see if it's these ones, I think a few of the tomato plants in here, sorry, rotating the GreenStalk one-handed is not my strong suit. What am I trying to show you? Here we go. So some of the tomatoes are trying to get little blossoms. Here they are. So this is one of the Landraces. I think it's the only tomato on the second tier. It's so dark. Sorry, I'm just shoving you into all the plants while I rotate this. But yeah, look at these. I just noticed these last night, but it was late and dark, and I didn't want to come out and film and deal with mosquitoes and stuff. But little blossoms. There's that one, and then I think, oh goodness, one of the, or was I wrong? I thought one of the supernovas had some blossom or little buds coming in on it too. I might have just been imagining things. I think I was. Interesting. Okay, well anyway, one of them has little blossoms coming in on it, which is of course exciting. The nasturtium in here is doing really good. The leaves are finally starting to get a little bigger, which is great. I've got 4 strawberries now incoming off of our one little plant. This guy's furthest along. Second, third, and then a fresh blossom opened up just this morning for number 4. And then I love these little Allison flowers. They are just so darling, so cute. The chamomile is getting quite tall, and a lot of them look like they are just about to open. So that's exciting. I can't wait to make some teas with those. I've only ever made tea with like dried chamomile. I've never done it with the fresh flowers. I don't know if one is better than the other. I imagine the dry is better because as it loses water content and dries out, I would assume that the flavor would become more impactful because it's condensed, you know? This miner's lettuce is doing really good. These lettuces are doing good. They always just wilt whenever the sun hits them, so they look sad. And then as soon as I turn them back in the shade this way, they perk back up like within the hour. Oh, these little blossoms. They're so cute. I can't wait for just have the bright yellow blossoms out here. It's gonna be so exciting. But yeah, everyone's doing really good. I think it's been maybe 3 or 4 days since I've watered the GreenStalk, so I'm gonna do another water today. Basically, I have these buckets. I fill one up with water, dump it in the top, and then I hook up the little piece of plastic tube that the GreenStalk comes with to the base, and then I just run it off this way into this bucket. Oh, and then I also didn't mention, that's a cucumber sticking out right there too, and it's got 2 more blossoms on it, I believe. I've been kind of helping the pollinators, and if I notice a male blossom, I pick it off, take off the petals, and I'm rubbing it around inside of all the female blooms. Just because I've heard that bees can have a hard time. But yeah, I think it's so cool that you can tell. Like it's got a fruit kind of going before it even gets pollinated, and then whether or not it continues is just up to Mother Nature. But it's so cute. And you'll see the female too. They have those 3, I don't remember if it's male or female, is it stamen? And then the other one has stigmata. But yeah, the females will have like 3 like pollen receptors basically in the middle, and the males will have just 1 pollen giver sticking out of the middle. Let me see. Stick that back in. If there's one to show you. So yeah, on here, this is another female. Is this one a male? This one looks like a male. So, just get a good look. Female. 3. Male. It's so dark. And then male. Can you tell? Focus. Oh my goodness, this leaf. But it's got that 1 main bit just sticking straight out of the center rather than the 3. And then yeah, you can see there's like 3 blossoms here, more coming in right there. I was kind of worried at first because all of my cucumbers were just putting off male blossoms, and so I was worried they were gonna do like all male and then all female and nothing would get pollinated. But I think they're just kind of blooming in like clusters, more or less, and it seems to be evening out now with a mix of the different flowers. Oh, this Ellison is so cute. It's just so dainty, I love it. The salvia's doing pretty good. Whenever it dries out, like a little bit at all, these will shrivel up and just fall off. Like, I guess they're petals. It gets crispy really easily, so it might not do too well here because it gets very dry and very hot very fast. This chamomile is so darling too. Oh, it's so nice. And I just love watching the peas. It's definitely gonna try to grow around right here with its little tendrils. I don't know why, pea plants just make me so happy. Like, even if they're not producing, like, I think they're just so cute. Like, look at this. That's adorable. I don't know how you cannot love them. I also love peas because it's great if you're trying to get, like, kids into gardening. Just because they're really fast growers. They're kind of, like, interactive with how they grab onto things like this. And they just produce so quickly, you know? This guy, I'm gonna let go for a little longer on here. I didn't even see him earlier. I'll let him stay on the vine a bit longer though. He might have some more size to put on. They've all been coming in pretty small. This is about maybe second biggest. I think the one I ate last night was the biggest one that's been on here, but they've either been really small and very plump, or they've been longer in size but very skinny and like not real big, juicy, sweet peas. So I don't know, kind of interesting. And they're all the sugar and snap pea variety. This one's a little fatter. He's small, he's obviously got more growing to do still. But he's a little fatter on the end. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. Oh, also, our mosquitoes are really bad here, and I want to ask you guys. Because I don't have like a yard or anything. This lighting is crazy. I don't have a yard or anything, and I don't want to spray like bug spray, mosquito spray, like on myself inside my apartment, because that would just be like bombing myself out. That smell would never go away, and even on my tiny balcony that would be insane. But if you guys have like natural mosquito repellent things that actually work that you use, please let me know, because that's the thing too, is I want to hang out on my balcony without getting eaten by mosquitoes, but I don't want to keep pollinators away. I just don't want them like on me eating me, because I literally just crushed a mosquito when I came inside and it was like red splat, and I was like, that's my blood, bro, give it back, like that's not yours. But I've seen like those little bracelets that are infused with like essential oils. I've seen, I don't know, there's like a bunch of naturally things, but if you know of one that actually works, please share it down below, because like I'm actually very curious and would like some help with that. But yeah, that's it from me for now. If this somehow is the whole video, then here's a nice short little sweet one. Hope you enjoyed. A little change of pace, not the usual 45 minutes. Otherwise, here's more random things. God, I knew I was forgetting something. Okay, I don't think I showed this to you. Maybe I did and I'm a big fat liar. But I got myself this little Japanese beach fern. Where's your tag? Not a very descriptive tag. Japanese beach fern, B-E-E-C-H. I was at the Ace Hardware, which apparently I live there now. I'm just there every other day, getting something for my plants. And I was outside around their greenhouse and their flowers and everything. I think I was getting the alyssum and something else for the GreenStalk. And there were these little ferns, and it just, I've always wanted like a big high humidity like house fern to keep like low light, keep it in my bathroom where it's humid, stuff like that. And this guy, he definitely wasn't the best looking out of the bunch, but I picked him because one, he still had new growth, even though he doesn't look the best. Like, he's got new stuff coming out of the center. He's doing great. It had these little clovers in here, and the bottom, it's got all this moss and just like lovely little natural bits. And that makes me so happy. And this guy unfurling, oh, I can't deal with it. It's so cute. So for right now, until I have a pot for him and I just make sure that he's like actually doing okay, I have him out here right by my humidifier with my big honeymoon wedding anthurium. I will put the card here for that video where we repotted him. It's doing really good, and I love this pot. I watered it the other day, so I have it kind of up on this ledge just to allow a little bit of air in there so it doesn't get like wacky condensation. But it's doing really good in this pot. I have the bloom turned away just so I can kind of balance out the foliage. It's doing really good, and then the little baby that we separated from it is over here as well. But yeah, I just wanted them to have kind of optimal higher humidity, so they're over here along with our little fern guy. I've been bottom watering him and he soaks it right up, but I'm letting him kind of dry out for a minute. Not fully, obviously, it's a fern, but there's nothing in here right now because I don't want him to just be completely like waterlogged all the time, you know? But yeah, the moss and the clovers being in here with him was like literally what made me buy him. I could have done without just a fern, but, and then I think the clovers, potentially, yeah, I think the clovers are like blooming. It's so cute. New stuff unfurling makes me really happy. And new little stuff down here. Like, he's definitely got a lot of life still, even though he looks kind of beat up. So, yeah. Kind of a rehab, kind of not. Like, he's definitely not dying. I've seen worse plants on sale at the store, but he was not the best looking of the bunch, but I love him. And I tried walking away, and I made it like almost to the register, and I just couldn't stop thinking about him, and I was like, you know what? I need him. Maybe he needs me. Like, look at that. Little babies. And all the moss. Like, I love moss. Meows. I love me some moss. Oh, it's just so dainty and beautiful, and I can't wait for it to actually get the humidity it needs. And then we can get rid of the crusty browns and just have these fresh, new green growth, and it'll be so good. Okay, now I'll stop rambling. Another thing that I just did today, it's a couple hours later in the afternoon now, it's like 2 p.m. I was watering my GreenStalk. I water everything else in the morning. The GreenStalk I do in the afternoon, because basically most of the soil is covered, so you don't have to worry about the water evaporating or like heating up and then just like cooking your plants as much as you would in like a normal pot. But what I want to show you that I just set up is basically, so I popped my lid off, all the water in here, and it all drains out. But this was really loud and just like shooting water like everywhere. I want it to go in this bucket. So I literally just took a piece of like hemp twine and made a little hole in here with like a pocket knife and some kitchen scissors just to direct the water, because without that, I know that that's annoying, like I wouldn't mind that, but I have apartment neighbors and they probably don't want to just hear water trickling. And I also wouldn't want to concern them and make them think that something's like flooding or gonna leak on them up here. So I went ahead and just tied a string, and now it's silent and the water just goes exactly where I want it to. But yeah, I literally just cut one hole, like maybe ½ an inch back from the end, tied a simple little knot. I could probably double knot that just to be sure. And then it just falls and catches the water, or you could put this on upside down so you know that it'll catch the water. But either way, it works really well, like immediately. So that's easy peasy. Ooh. Everyone's looking good. Lettuces always look a little sad in the afternoon, like I was saying. These littler ones actually don't look too bad, comparatively. I'm so excited for these little blossoms to open still. Oh, I'm so excited. The Allison always falls over in the heat too. even though it's doing absolutely fine. It has this tiny trickle that maybe you can see it, but it's got a tiny trickle that comes out of it for quite a while. I'm probably gonna come out this evening and water the individual pockets too. Just because I feel like everything is still kind of trying to get rooted. And I want to make sure everyone gets a drink.